So very good morning, folks. So I am from the team of Mission Iceland with Integrity. So in this video, we will be having certain notes regarding how actually we are learning, how actually our review is whenever we are going to discuss about our first and foremost chapter for the class 10th CBSE, that is all about chemical reaction and its equation. So basically in this video analysis we will be discussing in two parts. One is part 1 and part 2. So part 2 will be formulated as well as published soon as well as possible. So before all going for part 1, we should have to learn what are the different reactions usually taking place, what actually the reaction is and how actually the reaction usually takes place. So those all things we'll be discussing in details. Okay, those all things will be analyzing in detail such that you will be having a clear understanding regarding what you are learning. Okay, so before that I just want to make you sure regarding the and channel. So this channel is meant for all the editorial analysis of Hindus as well as different different CBSE notes too. So I hope you will definitely subscribe the channel for more videos. So yeah, the thing is that lot of YouTube channels have been there with this all the notes with all the necessary guidelines, but this video analysis make you difference. How? By the mean which I am saying. How? By mean the way of delivering. Okay, the way of delivering is different from teacher to teacher, educator to educator, but the thing of content is actually different from each and everyone. So in this video analysis I will be discussing in detail regarding how actually, what actually, and where actually this chemical reaction using actually taking place or actually need to be taken place. So this video analysis will also enhance and boost your answer writing skill whenever you are going to appear your board examination. Okay, so those all things are prior important, because everything is important when you usually going to write the examination, that is all about 10th class. Okay, so this video analysis will enhance and boost your answer writing skills. Okay, so without wastage of time I will be delivering the content for you all, that is all about chemical reaction and this equation. Okay, so what actually this chemical reaction is and how actually this chemical reaction usually taking place in our environment. So what is chemical reaction? First and foremost thing we will be discussing about what is a chemical reaction. Okay, so what is chemical reaction or CR? So chemical reaction is just like the transformation of chemical substance. Okay, that is all about transformation, means converting one to another. Okay, converting one to another. Okay, converting one to another. Okay, so in the form of chemicals, in the form of what? Chemicals. That is what chemical reaction is all about. So transformation of chemical substances into another chemical substances, okay, is known as chemical reaction. Okay, so is known as what? Chemical reaction. So here also I have given examples. That examples are rusting of iron, as we usually see, right? Rusting of iron usually taking place. Then after setting of milk into curd, it is also a chemical reaction. It is due to what? Due to lactobacillus microorganism, which you have already studied in class 8th, right? So microorganisms, how actually it is taking place. Microbes we have already learned, different forms of bacteria, algae, fungi. Okay, protozoa, those all things usually comes into existence when you usually discuss about chemicals. Okay, chemicals, when you usually discuss about chemicals, those microorganisms also plays a very crucial and important role. Okay, so then after we'll be discussing about the digestion of food and respiration. Okay, digestion of food and respiration is also one of the point regarding the chemical reaction. As we know that digestion of food usually taking place where? Intestine, respiration through lungs. Okay, so those popping of we can say that we can the puss we usually have studied, right? So those all things comes into existence when we discuss about a chemical reaction. Okay, and the second number point we'll be discussing in details. So the second number point usually says that in a chemical reaction a new substance is formed. As we all know that curd is a new substance. Then after iron is rusting of iron to particles. Okay, this is also a new substance. Then after which is completely different in properties. You must and should have to know this thing, that which is completely different. So as we all have studied that if a person is different from, when a person is going to be different, if he do such a things which makes him different, definitely the things will be makeup, the things will be his hairstyle or her hairstyle, the things will be the way of living. Okay, so those all things will be an example of a man who is completely different from its original shape and size. I hope you are understanding what actually I am saying. So here the chemical reaction is just about forming a new substance, right? इसमें क्या होता है, फॉर्म होता है. कौन सा सब्सटेंस यूजुअली फॉर्म होता है, एक न्यू सब्सटेंस फॉर्म होता है, जिससे यूजुअली हमको पता चल जाता है कि हाँ इधर केमिकल रिएक्शन हुआ है. ठीक है, तो फिर इससे हमको क्या यूजुअली पता चलता है, या फिर क्या यूजुअली हमको यूजुअली समझ आता है कि हर एक चीज का जो भी एक न्यू फॉर्मेशन होता है, हर एक चीज का जो कि न्यू मॉड्यूलेशन होता है, न्यू स्ट्रक्चरल शेप होता है, ठीक है, उसको ही हम एक केमिकल रिएक्शन के दौरान हम लिखते हैं या फिर देखते हैं. दैट्स व्हाट एक्चुअली केमिकल रिएक्शन इज, formation of different substances. Okay, so there are different substances in the form of iron, we can say curd, we can say digestion of food, respiration. Then after many things we can also say chemical reaction, physical reaction. Chemical reaction we have already learned, physical and chemicals, not physical reaction, that is our physical and chemical changes. ठीक है, हम सेवेंथ क्लास में भी पढ़े हैं, वी हैव ऑलरेडी स्टडीड इन सेवेंथ क्लास. ठीक है, सो दोज ऑल थिंग्स कम्स अंडर व्हाट, केमिकल रिएक्शन. व्हेन वी डिस्कस especially with regards to 10th class, then definitely it is prior different, right? You are enhancing and boosting such a knowledge which is already you have completed. ठीक है, जो कि हो गया है तुम्हारा वही आप इसमें भी पढ़ाई कर रहे हो. वट एवर बिन completed in your previous classes, that is only you are revising in this chapter. So that's what here actually I want to say you. So only a rearrangement of atoms. Okay, rearrangement of what, atoms takes place in a chemical reaction. ठीक है, इसमें usually क्या होता है, atoms का rearrangement होता है, the structure of atoms which is also been rearranged. So okay, so it is rearranged particles, we can say that. Okay, so rearrange usually होता है structure of atom में. It is also important, okay, in a chemical reaction. Okay, so then after, the substance which takes part in chemical reaction is called what, reactant. Okay, so you have to keep in mind that what is reactant. इसमें usually reactant का मतलब क्या है, जो कि chemical reaction में अपना योगदान देता है. तो the substance which usually taking place, we hear what, the substance which usually takes part in a chemical reaction. ठीक है, तो इसमें usually chemical reaction में जो कि take part होता है, usually taking place, that is what that is called a reactant. The new substance usually produced from the result of chemical reaction is called product. ठीक है, जो कि नया प्रोडक्ट होता है उसको हम usually नया प्रोडक्ट usually प्रोड्यूस होता है उसको ही हम usually क्या बोलते हैं, प्रोडक्ट बोलते हैं. ठीक है, so that is what here the first note is. The second note, here I have fetched an example regarding how actually it works. ठीक है, usually chemical reaction कैसे usually होता है. So the burning of magnesium in the air. ठीक है, जब जब एयर में magnesium usually burn होता है. Okay, so in the presence of air, O2, okay, in the presence of O2, when Mg burns, okay, magnesium burns, what actually takes place, how actually it takes place, what the new product is usually formed. So the burning of magnesium in the air to form magnesium oxide is an example of chemical reaction. Here is what the chemical reaction is of. So magnesium, 2 mole of magnesium is fetched, is reacted with oxygen or air, it gives to magnesium oxide. Okay, so that is what here MgO usually forms. So before a burning in air, magnesium ribbon is cleaned by rubbing with sandpaper. Okay, then after this is done to remove the productive layer, basic magnesium carbonate from the surface of magnesium ribbon. ठीक है, मैग्नीशियम कार्बोनेट को यूजुअली रिमूव किया जाता है. इट यूजुअली रिमूव्स द मैग्नीशियम कार्बोनेट थ्रू द हेल्प ऑफ सैंड पेपर सच दैट मैग्नीशियम यूजुअली बर्न्स विद ऑक्सीजन क्लियरली टू फॉर्म व्हाट, MgO. Okay, so you have to keep a mind on that. So the substance which takes place in the chemical reaction is called what, reactant. We have already said examples are magnesium and oxygen. ठीक है, Then after a product, the new substance which usually formed is what, MgO। ठीक है, इसमें यूजुअली न्यू सब्सटेंस जो कि फॉर्म हुआ है उसको MgO बोल के हम बुलाते हैं। ठीक है, सो कैरेक्टरिस्टिक्स ऑफ केमिकल रिएक्शन, दैट इज आल्सो वेरी 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 इंपॉर्टेंट रिगार्डिंग आवर स्टडी इन chemical reaction. One is evolution of gas. So in which chemical reaction evolution of gas takes place, इसमें कौन सा reaction में usually नया नया product जो कि होता है वो कि solid, liquid, गैस, तीन स्टेट्स में यूजुअली प्रोडक्ट का फॉर्मेशन होता है, जो कि नया प्रोडक्ट नया नया वाला है, जो कि केमिकल रिएक्शन में यूजुअली हम रिएक्टेंट जब यूजुअली होता है प्रोडक्ट फॉर्मेशन होता है, राइट। सो इसमें यूजुअली होता है क्या है, होता यही है कि केमिकल रिएक्शन का जो प्रोडक्ट है वो तीन रूप में या फिर तीन मैटर्स में यूजुअली फॉर्म होता है, वेदर इट इज एक गैस स्टेट or whether it is a solid state or whether it is in liquid state. So those all things taking place in a characteristics of chemical reaction. One is evolution of gas. The best example is zinc when it's usually uh, reacted with sulfuric acid, ठीक है, H2SO4 aqueous, so इधर aqueous liquid form में, solid form में, okay, so zinc when usually react with H2SO4 it usually gives what, it usually gives ZnSO4, okay, so then H2 gas और hydrogen gas is been released, ठीक है, एक gas form होता है और एक aqueous form होता है, ठीक है, so ZnSO4 plus H2O, this is the first gas which usually releases from the evolution of gas, okay, so evolution of gas का पहला example है when zinc plus H2SO4, that is hydrosulfuric acid, H2SO4 sulfuric acid, it usually gives ZnSO4 plus H2, ठीक है। then after change in color, so change in color में usually क्या होता है, so change in color best example I have already discussed here, already displayed here, that the chemical reaction between citric acid and purple colored potassium permanganate solution is characterized by change in color from the purple to colorless, ठीक है, purple से usually क्या होता है, colorless हो जाता है when we discuss about the citric acid plus and purple colored potassium permanganate, okay, so P potassium permanganate, okay, so when citric acid usually reacts with potassium permanganate, that is K, okay, so it usually becomes purple to colorless, okay, purple to colorless, you have to keep a mind on that too. So then after the chemical reaction between sulfuric dioxide gas, okay, sulfuric dioxide gas जब usually sulfuric dioxide gas and acidified potassium dichromate solution is characterized by changing color from orange to green, ठीक है, orange से usually क्या होता है, green हो जाता है when we usually reacts with this, okay, so when the sulfuric dioxide gas when reacts with acidified potassium bichromate, it usually characterize one of the change in orange to orange से usually क्या होता है, green हो जाता है when we discuss about sulfuric dioxide and acidified potassium dichromate, ठीक है। then after we'll be discussing about change in state of a substance. Okay, the combustion reaction of candle wax is characterized by change in state from solid to liquid and gas. Because the wax is a solid, we all know that candle is a solid. Then after it forms a small droplet here, right? Small droplet. Then after formed by combustion of wax in liquid at room temperature, where carbon dioxide produced by the combustion of wax on gas, ठीक है, इसमें usually क्या होता है, कार्बन डाइऑक्साइड usually फॉर्म होता है या फिर रिलीज होता है in the form of gas. So solid to liquid, liquid to gas, solid से जब हाँ लिक्विड बनता है तब गैस भी उसमें हेल्प करता है, that is the best example of change in state of a substance. Then after change in temperature and formation of precipitate, so change in temperature best example are chemical reaction between quick lime, okay, quick lime water to form sacred lime is characterized by change in temperature which is risk, okay, which is a rise in temperature. So इसमें usually क्या होता है, temperature rise होता है जब हम chemical reaction quick lime to form sacred lime, ओके, सो क्विक लाइम टू सेक्ड लाइम जब हम बनाते हैं, क्विक लाइम टू सेक्ड लाइम जब हम बनाते हैं, टेम्परेचर राइज होता है. सो दैट इज द बेस्ट एग्जांपल ऑफ हाउ एक्चुअली टेम्परेचर राइज टेकिंग प्लेस व्हेन टू रिएक्टेंट, दैट इज क्विक लाइम टू फॉर्म सेक्ड लाइम, ठीक है. Then after the chemical reaction between zinc Okay, zinc gong and diluted sulfuric acid, which I have already discussed, which usually releases H2 gas. Okay, so in this also temperature usually rises. Then after form, which I have already displayed here, right? So this one I'm saying. Okay, so precipient, formation of precipient, that is all about chemical reaction between sulfuric acid and barium chloride solution. So barium chloride solution and sulfuric acid, when it usually reacts, to aqueous reacts, it usually gives one BaSO4, that is barium sulfate. Okay, so formation of white precipitate, that is white precipitate, we have to keep in mind that it is a white precipitate. Okay, so it is what, it is a white precipitate. Then after, it usually gives HCl. Okay, HCl, which usually stays in our stomach. ठीक है, हाइड्रोक्लोरिक एसिड, ठीक है, जो कि यूजुअली होता है कहाँ पे, हमारा स्टोमक में भी होता है, क्योंकि डाइजेशन ऑफ फूड में यूजुअली हेल्प करता है. दैट इज द बेस्ट एग्जाम्पल ऑफ केमिकल रिएक्शन. ठीक है, जो कि हम प्रोड्यूक्शन या फिर खाना जो भी खाते हैं, वट एवर फूड वी आर ईटिंग, इट इज गेटिंग separated by the help of an acid, that is HCl, which is usually present in our stomach. Okay, so I hope this is all about today's part 1 analysis of this chapter, that is chemical reaction. Okay, so in the next video we'll be discussing about the part 2 of the session, and different chemical reactions also. Okay, so let me end the video here itself. So if you are new to the channel, please subscribe the channel, like the channel, and share the channel, so that every aspirants, every students get an idea regarding what actually chemical reaction is, and what the different notes which is also been assigned here will be given to you all. Okay, so let me end the video here itself. Thank you, thanks a lot.